All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Early Morning Crypto Talk. Bitcoin Brandon here from Los Angeles, California. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to learn something new about the crypto space. It is cold and windy here in California, but it's not raining anymore. And I know I shouldn't say that to all of our friends on the East Coast going through the storm blizzard. My hearts go out to you. I can't handle the cold. So go ahead and type in the chat box where you're listening in from. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. I see we have Patty Moore from Hawaii, Bethany Gibbs from Seattle, Barbara Brown from Vallejo, Jacqueline, Cleve Stewart from New York City. Good morning, good morning. As a disclaimer, I am not a licensed financial advisor to be giving financial advice. I read the news, give my opinion, share a suggestion, and it is up to you to make an informed, intelligent decision on which direction you want to move into. There's 4 rules I live by in the crypto space to have success. Rule number 1, education is key. Education is everything. Rule number 2, never invest money that you cannot afford to lose. Rule number 3, always get your return on investment back as fast as possible. And rule number 4, where do you see yourself in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now? What are you willing to do to make that happen? Make a decision, take action, and remain focused. Do not get distracted. There's so many things out there that can distract you in this space. You have limited resources. Now, following this is not going to guarantee you success, but it will at least minimize your risk. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the most that we can ask for. Good morning, Shauna Ross from Charlotte, North Carolina. Moshe Frazier from Philadelphia. Now let's get things started. Screen share. All right, I only have 2 articles this morning, so we're not going to be long at all. But first up, let's look at the market. Coin market cap last 24 hours is at 120 billion, so it's gained a billion over the last 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance is still at 52.4%. So that money went to the altcoins. Bitcoin is at 3,600. Ripple, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple's in the red barely. So I'm looking at basically a flat market this morning. Been trading sideways over the last 24 hours. 24-hour best performers, Loopring, 39%. Factom, Mixin, Chainlink, Ardor, VeChain, Zilliqa, or Qua. Tron as the top 10 is at 4.5%. Worst performers, 10x, Bugairo Coin. Isn't that funny? Wasn't Bugairo Coin was the best performer just the other day? That's what I was saying. You see this up, down, up, down, up, down. Ditacoin, Augur, Aurora, Power Ledger status, Electroneum, negative 4% down. Hey, it's 2 articles up. Let's see. $3.2 trillion in Bitcoin payments processed in 2018. Is the cryptocurrency a better version of gold? Oh, this called my Bitcoin price could crack $10 million because new gold standard. What? Oh, I might have to cover that one. I'll read that one after this article here. Okay, let's put this in the chat box for you guys. Welcome, Tumwa Abdullah from Philadelphia. Throughout 2018, more than $3.2 trillion worth of Bitcoin payments were processed on the public blockchain network. That's a lot. It's a drop in the bucket on the grand scheme of things, but most people don't know what this is. That's still a lot. Yeah, look at high on-chain transaction volume of the quarter. Often, Bitcoin is compared to gold. Both assets get by the performance of the broader financial market and are generally not correlated with traditional investment vehicles. That's true. But a case can be made that a version of gold because of its ability to function as a medium of exchange and a cross-border payment system. Binance, the cryptocurrency exchange, sent $1 million with a $7 processing well over 107,000 Bitcoin within an hour. Think about that. $1 trillion to creation through a bank, Western Union, or traditional means. What would they have to pay? 2 to 3 for the fee? Do you know what that is on $600 million? What, 16 million? Just to move your money, you got to pay 16 million? $7. For a similar amount to be processed using gold or traditional financial services, third-party service providers and regulators have to be involved, resulting in and compliance-related activities. The efficiency of dealing with large transactions and cross-border transactions has allowed the Bitcoin network to reach a volume of 3.2 trillion, year-on-year median increase of 2.91%. So it grew by almost 3% from the previous year. Researchers at Satoshi Capital Research wrote, comparing Bitcoin's network performance in 2018 to prior years, total trading volume 2.2 trillion, total layer 1 transaction volume 3.2 trillion, and total change in transaction volume between 2017 and 2018 to 8 trillion. Medium change year on year 2017 to 2018 for every day in the year is plus 2.91 cents. And think about that. Bitcoin's heyday was 2017. Yet 2018, there was more processing than in 2018. The 3.2 trillion transaction volume is bigger than the volume of the exchange market. But not everyone is convinced. Speaking to Bloomberg, Hugh Van Steenis, the senior advisor to Bank of England governor, said that cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin fail fundamental tests of financial services. With an emphasis on the bright future of the tech sector, the advisor said, I'm not so worried about cryptocurrencies. They fail the basic tests of financial services. They're not a great unit of exchange. They don't have value, hold value, and they're slower. However, the claim that cryptocurrencies are slower in processing transactions in comparison to traditional financial services is highly inaccurate. Systems such as the SWIFT net are a minimum 3-5 business days for entities, while Bitcoin and assets typically can settle payments within 1 hour. Previously, upon the resignation of SWIFT CEO Gottfried Leibrandt, it was revealed that the SWIFT network relied on its system built 41 years ago that presents variances in payments. SWIFT is very different shape than it was 7 years ago. There's always going to be a chapter. I think this is in with capital controls and that disallow the outflow of gold and fiat with heavy restrictions. In the long run, Bitcoin could appeal to a wider range of investors as an efficient medium of exchange. All right, now that other article caught my attention, so I want to check this one out. Bitcoin price could crack $10 million, become the new gold standard, asset management firm says. Okay. Predictions kept the crypto hype train happy. The eccentric ICO promoter John McAfee probably emasculate himself if Bitcoin to reach 1 million within 3 years. Or Fundstrat setting a conservative price target at 25,000. Every crypto influencer had a price target, and most represented significant upside, often in the extremely short term. Increasingly, though, such optimistic and specific Bitcoin price targets seem like a relic from a bygone era. Even Tom Lee, perhaps Wall Street's biggest crypto bull, rage quit the Bitcoin price prediction game, complaining that the market failed to recognize the asset's true value was far above its current level. And I agree with him. The current value of Bitcoin right now is really around 14,000 a coin. It is artificially being pushed down by the institutional investors, because you know why? Let me go back to the statement where it just said back in 2017 there was crypto hype. People were betting that crypto was going to go from anywhere from $1 million to $25,000. So if you are an investor in the institutional space and you see everybody hyping up there, you'll make more money by betting against them and winning. So they put bets against them, short the price, force the price of Bitcoin down in the process, and they make more money. It's like you're at a horse race, and a horse has odds to win 8-1. Everybody's betting on the winner, and you get that one guy who has no chance of winning, and that horse wins the race. That's what happened here. So he is absolutely right. The price of Bitcoin as you see it right now is not, if you take away all forces that's sitting on it, is really around 14K. So against the bearish backdrop, asset management firm Lucid Investment Strategies is breaking away from the pack to make a bull call that sounds like a throwback to 2017. The Bitcoin price could one day reach $10 million, become the new gold standard, and solve the world's debt crisis. Really? The Bitcoin price could solve the world's debt crisis? I haven't heard that one before. According to Lucid, the ratio of global debt to wealth has spiraled out of control. That's true, creating a grotesque imbalance of wealth inequality. As of the end of 2018, total world debt was an estimated $247 trillion, compared to $317 trillion in total world wealth. But while global wealth continues to outpace debt, the gap is quickly closing. Over the past 20 years, debt has ballooned by 394%, while wealth has climbed just 133%. Writing in a new report, Lucid claims that this status quo is not sustainable and that the world economy must eventually locate a solution to address the debt crisis. The 5 most likely strategies, the firm says, are the adoption of a gold standard, the creation of a new commodity, currency basket, economic growth, outright default on sovereign debt, or mass investment in Bitcoin. While perhaps not the likeliest outcome, the firm maintains that Bitcoin is the best alternative since it would provide a permanent fix to the debt crisis, while limiting the damage that will inevitably accompany widespread economic upheaval. From the report, which was drafted by Lucid President and Chief Investment Officer Dean Tyler Jenks, is this mass Bitcoin adoption feasible? Probably not, but we believe it is possible, and we believe it offers the greatest benefits with the least collateral damage to the least a number of individuals, corporations, institutions, and countries. Most importantly, it will provide a permanent fix, a quality that none of the other solutions provide. Were this to occur, the Bitcoin price would inevitably enter the stratosphere. But how high could it go? Lucid says that 10 million is a good estimate. Why $10 million? At that level, Bitcoin would provide a sufficient reserve to alleviate the world debt burden. Bitcoin would be worth between 180. What? I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around this figure. Bitcoin will be worth between 180 trillion and 210 trillion, depending on when that price was reached. Assuming world debt had reached 500 trillion at that time, remember it has grown by 394% over the past 20 years. Bitcoin could represent a 40% reserve against the debt. Okay, stop right there. Look at this. The total crypto market cap is 120 billion. Bitcoin is 43. Wrong one. $63 billion is Bitcoin right now. 63 billion is the market cap. One coin is worth $3,600. Do you understand what he's saying here? He's saying that this number is going to reach 10 million per coin, and this number is going to be 180 trillion. If you just have $50 worth of Bitcoin right now, and it reaches $10 million per coin, you're a millionaire with just $50 worth of Bitcoin today. You're a millionaire. Okay. I don't know what he's smoking. Is it possible? Yes. How the Bitcoin price could climb to $10 million. Is it probable? I don't know. From there, the report examines what sort of path Bitcoin would have to take to reach the $10 million mark from where it is today. Knee deep in a 13-month bear market and languishing near the $3,500 mark. The first step, of course, is breaking out of that slump. Unfortunately, that might happen later rather than sooner. I hope it does happen later. I hope that this thing stays cheap for at least the next year. Gives us an opportunity to stack up on our coins. Now, that's going to hurt business short term because people aren't going to be interested in hearing and learning about crypto because the price isn't going up. You got to think how people are. People are bandwagoners. People want to wait till they see something running in one direction before they jump on it. Look at 2017. Most people got into Bitcoin after the value of the Bitcoin price was over $7,000 a coin. That's when people started jumping in. That's when I need to learn about this. I need to get in. But with the price being low, nobody really cares about it. I can care less about KGX education. I ain't going nowhere. Those of you with vision see it, and you're jumping on it right now, like you're listening to me right now. So yeah, it's going to hurt business if the price stays low. On the other hand, it gives us in the know more time to prepare and stack up our coins. So it's got to break out of the slump. Likely, many analysts, Lucid believes that the Bitcoin price has not yet bottomed. Far from it. In fact, but will likely crash below $1,000 mark before the fire sale runs its course. Okay. What did I say the other day? I believe that Bitcoin is going to get down to at least maybe 2,500. That guy Da Vinci believes it's going to get below 2,500. All the major investors believe it's going to get below 3,000. It's not a matter of, well, I don't like saying that on this way. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Before it starts to have a rally. This guy who's predicting that it's going to get to $10 million one day is saying that it's going to get below $1,000 before the fire sale runs its course, exposing altcoins as cheap knockoffs. One important trigger for establishing a bottom will be the utter decimation of altcoins and ICO tokens, which will prove once and for all that the Bitcoin is digital gold and its so-called competitors are just cheap knockoffs. The next big step in this journey will be the utter decimation of altcoins, ICOs, and the realization of the important attributes of Bitcoin. That process has begun, but the regulators must regulate. We believe they will. During this time, Bitcoin will continue to lose value, but at a much slower rate than its competitors. With the bottom in and no more nonsense about it, building a better Bitcoin, the flagship crypto would begin to grind upwards. After facing initial resistance, the Bitcoin price would begin to quicken its ascent as it breaks through key technical hurdles on its way to setting a new all-time high around $20,000. I'm curious, are you going to let us know when? When are you predicting this to happen? Bitcoin's next major challenge will come at the $100,000 mark, at which it would begin to rival gold as the world's premier economic hedge. If investors begin to sell gold for Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency could quickly eclipse the yellow metal. If not, the path will be slower, though still possible. Scaling, institutional adoption, and regulatory clarity. Notably, it's also here that Lucid believes developers must begin delivering on promises to scale the cryptocurrency's protocol to accommodate a much more crowded network. Scaling, coupled with institutional adoption and regulatory clarity, would put Bitcoin on track to become not just a store of value, but the world's reserve currency. This accomplished, the road to $1 million will smooth and straighten. The hurdles will be $1 million both psychologically and financially. Jinx and Wald wrote, at 1 million, Bitcoin will have a market cap of $18 trillion. It will be the major league of asset classes and pockets of wealth. It will be a contender. That's why I said owning at least one whole Bitcoin puts you in a different status. You know, it's a status, economic class. As the fastest growing asset class in world history, it will no longer be ignored by pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, institutional money managers, endowments, financial institutions, and even governments. These will fuel the trip at high speed to 10 million. When pricing Bitcoin, ask the right question. Okay, what's the right question? Again, Lucid acknowledged up front that this thought experiment is unlikely to manifest in the real economy. However, they maintain that it could happen. And if it could happen, then why shouldn't Bitcoin bulls gamble that it will, even if only to a much smaller degree? So here's how I always think. When I hear stuff like this, I say, could I live with if they are 90% wrong? So if they think Bitcoin is going to be worth $18 million a coin and they're 90% wrong, could I live with it being worth $800,000 a coin? Huh. Yeah. Yes, I can. Or 10% right on that. Yeah. All right. Do we believe Bitcoin will be chosen as a solution to the debt crisis? That is a wrong question, Jinx and Wald said as they concluded the report. The right question is, will there be a choice? Oh, I like that. Alternatively, will the economic disequilibrium force resolution? Probably default. Okay. I believe that for anything like this to happen, unfortunately, we are going to have a global crisis on the scale of World War II, combined with the Great Depression of the 30s. You combine those two, complete economic collapse of the West is going to happen, in my opinion, for this to be a worldwide adoption by all nations looking for a solution. Remember, what makes things survive or thrive is solving a problem or having a solution to a problem. And Bitcoin's got to be a solution to a major problem. It's not there yet. Does Bitcoin need to have a worldwide calamity? No. It can survive side by side with fiat currency and government. It's just going to continue to grow at a slower pace. So what I'm interesting to hear, or what I did not hear, is them give any timetable to this. There's no timetable. You could be talking 50 years from now, 100 years from now. Who knows? But the numbers, when you understand this, and those of the Bitcoin boot camp this weekend in Seattle will see, when you're able to visualize the world's money supply and you look at where the world's money is, and you understand that this is crypto. This is crypto right here in the entire world money supply. And then you look at, this is the world's money supply. One box represents Bitcoin. That's it. One box compared to all of this. What if Bitcoin represented just two grids? What if it just represented this right here? This portion right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 grids. That's Bitcoin. You still have the rest of the world from here up. Still the rest of the world. And you were involved at the beginning. Your families will be taken care of for, I don't know, next couple 100 years. You're at the right place at the right time. All right, I'm glad I read that article. I'm disappointed that they didn't really put a timetable on there. I mean, we might not be alive when this happens, but our children will. Got to get positioned now. All right, last article up. Crypto could still be global currency of future. All right, now I'm hearing the same kind of talk. This is coming from the NASDAQ CEO. See, I love to play an investigator here, like connect the dots, see the patterns. When you see people of influence saying the same thing, you start to pick up a pattern, a trend. So here we got the NASDAQ CEO saying the same thing. Why? En route to Davos, NASDAQ CEO Adena Friedman says 2019 will be a year of disruption and innovation. Cryptocurrencies could still be a global currency if the tremendous demonstration of genius and creativity finds practical utility. Friedman, like others, believes the cryptocurrency space has gone through the first stage of the classic invention life cycle. This is marked by early pioneers, followed by hype, followed by proliferation of newcomers, and then a close or a dose of reality. Let me read that one more time. I need my brain to absorb this. Friedman, like others, believe the cryptocurrency space has gone through the first stage of the classic invention life cycle. Okay, I understand that. The first stage. marked by early pioneers, followed by hype, followed by proliferation of newcomers, and then a dose of reality. I think that we're right now in that proliferation of newcomers, and then a dose of reality. For many, that dose of reality is a real hard hitter. Over $400 billion has been wiped off the market cap of crypto. Bitcoin's price has fallen from highs of 19,000 to lows of 3,200. Early investors may still be in profit. For those who join the market on its way up, they are sure feeling the downside. That is true. The NASDAQ CEO says one of the two things will happen next. Firstly, like the internet, the innovation finds practical utility, followed by years of steady and sustainable commercial progress and integration into the economic fabric. Okay, I got to read that again. Again, I'm absorbing this. The innovation finds practical utility, followed by years of steady and sustainable commercial progress and integration into the economic fabric. All right, that is what the foundation of 2018 has been doing. They've been building the infrastructure. Like that one article I read where it said people will be, I think it was about the smartphones. All of the new smartphones will have blockchain and crypto tech within them, even if they are not expressly doing anything crypto related for the consumer. So the consumer is using the tech without realizing it because it's being woven into the economic fabric. They don't even know they're using it. But look at what they said there. Years of steady and sustainable. The internet went through a 90% crash in the 90s. Did you realize that? But it didn't disappear. It kept growing. Or secondly, like the Segway, the invention fails to achieve broad adoption and its commercial applications as medium of exchange are limited. It's tough seeing an industry with billions in investment, tens of thousands of credible startups, and stalwart progress towards adoption compared to a not so successful personal transportation device, even if the Segway was a precursor to technology like the hoverboard. We still don't have the hoverboard, doggone it. I saw in the news this morning that Nike is finally coming out with that adjustable shoelace, like from Back to the Future 1985, when they went to the future 2015. Well, now it's 2019, 4 years later, and Nike's finally coming out with it. Where's my hoverboard? I don't care if I'm 60 years old. I used to be a little skater back in the day, in the 80s and 90s. If hoverboard comes out and I'm 65, I am getting on a hoverboard. Before I pass, I want a hoverboard. Anyways, NASDAQ works to gain investors' trust in cryptocurrency. It is difficult to ignore the huge amount that investors, including some of the most sophisticated global investors, have poured into digital currencies in recent years. Adding that such a genius invention deserves an opportunity to find a sustainable future in our economy. That, she says, will depend on governance and regulatory clarity, both antithetical to a decentralized, ungovernable currency. I'm so proud of our team in Stockholm as we continue to evaluate and build new and innovative technologies for our clients. NASDAQ, it says, meet some of the brains working on NASDAQ Tech's blockchain projects in our Stockholm office. Using blockchain, we're transforming the mutual funds market through collaboration with the major industry participants in the Nordics business. You see that? This is not, little guys. This is not, Tim in his basement that's a little computer whiz coming up with something just for his local network. We're talking about the powers that be, the people that are moving money around the world. NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, the Forex stuff. For NASDAQ, says Friedman, it's about gaining investors' trust in cryptocurrency by implementing its trade technology and integrity. In other words, do you think NASDAQ is worried about $100 billion when they're doing trillions? What are they up to? They're preparing, they're building the foundation. They're going to be what makes this come true. $10 million Bitcoin. The Winklevoss twins' Gemini's exchange uses NASDAQ software. NASDAQ has also contributed to Singapore's efforts to settle tokenized assets and invested in the Wall Street ErisX crypto exchange. It has also partnered with VanEck to roll out Bitcoin futures trading in early 2019. Chris Burniske says, but the mainstream, for most, crypto is still not relevant to their life. That's true. That is why we do our Bitcoin boot camps. Those of you who've never seen it, when we go, especially when we go to Seattle, you'll see what separates how KGX is presenting this than others in the rest of the world. What makes our approach unique is because of that line right there. For most people, crypto is not relevant to their life. What we're going to do is show you why this is something that you cannot ignore, even if you feel it's not relevant to your life right now. This is when you get involved. When everybody else knows about it, it's too late. If they didn't invest in 2017, they've forgotten. If they did, chances are they had a bad taste in their mouth and want to forget. You see that? That says a whole lot right now. It also can explain why your business is where it is when you're talking to people about crypto. If they invested in 2017, they lost money now and they got a bad taste in their mouth. If they did not invest in 2017 and they're not an early adapter, they heard stories that people lost money and they don't think is relevant to them right now, so they ignore it. You guys understand that? Know your customers, know your audience. I don't say this to dishearten us, says Chris Burniske, quite the opposite. We remain in the installation phase of crypto, where the primary users are developers and investors. There is so much left to build and promise to be realized, which is massively exciting, which is why, guys, you have to understand, I'm a thinker and a problem solver and a dreamer. I'm always looking at the future and I'm looking ahead. And when I look at how can we bring crypto awareness and education to the masses, how can we do that? It's not going to happen by just saying, hey guys, you need to have crypto education because one day this thing's going to be valuable. The average person is not thinking that far. The average person is still living the rat race. They're trying to pay their bills at the end of the month. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They can't afford to be looking 6 months, a year, 5 years, let alone 10 years down the road. Their mind is not wired to do that. So how do we get the product in front of people's faces? And I do have a solution. And it is something I am working very hard inside of KGX to bring inside of KGX. But I will be involved, and I say it for the 1,000th time, one way or another. Because the solution is what is in people's hand 24/7. What is it that people take to the bathroom with them? What is it that people are afraid to leave home and go to work with, leave their house with? They'll leave their wallet at home before they leave this device at home. What is it that when you travel and you go to the airports, what are people doing? When you see teenagers that are coming home from school, walking down the street, what are they doing? Where is their eyeballs 40% of the time? of their waking hours during the day. It's in their freaking cell phone. That is the key. That's the key. My goal is to put all of the KGX stuff on that cell phone, to be able to bring affordable, or in other words, eliminate people's cell phone bill, pay them to talk on their phone, get their education and alerts through their phone. That is how you're going to bring mass adoption before it hits mainstream. Why does Brandon talk about SIM cards? This is part of it. It's a process. Like I said, I am a dreamer. I am way beyond. I'm moving a little too fast. And I'm only doing so because I know history of other times of inventions. How many of us would have loved to be there when Microsoft and Apple first started? When 1980, Bill Gates did an interview and he said, I am putting a window on every single computer screen, and all these computers are going to be linked together. And people laughed at him and said, what are you talking about? Then the internet came out. He said, we have the emails and stuff. They laughed at him and said, what are you talking about? Netflix came along and said, yeah, we want to go directly to people's homes with these videos where they don't have to go to in store to pick up the video. They got laughed at. They said, no, the mailing videos is the first step. We want to put this online. You can do your videos through streaming. They said the technology is not there yet. Internet's too slow to have streaming service. It's not going to happen. And I've always thought to myself growing up, I want to be there at those times in history so I could take advantage of that. Guess what? I'm 42 years old, and that day is today. That day is here. The time is now. Mass adoption, at this rate, now that I'm looking at it, might not even be for another 5 years. But where will we be positioned when that day comes? You ride the rocket up, and you're sitting on 20, 40, 50 Bitcoin. Your investments, it allows you to live on, so you don't have to sell your Bitcoin. And next thing you know, those 20 Bitcoins is worth $40 million that you now can pass on to your family. There is so much left to build and the promise to be realized, which is massively exciting. That's me. That's how I am. I am massively excited. It makes me overlook any short-term problems and issues. Venture capitalist Chris Burniske too believes cryptocurrency is going through a normal phase of market development. He says crypto is still at the installation phase, also comparable to the internet, and even Amazon's rise to success. So yeah, I'm willing to endure short-term pain for the long-term success of where this is going. And I remind myself of that every time I get frustrated. And I get frustrated all the time. Like I said, those of you that heard mindset training last night, is not what happens to you that's important. It's how you respond to the things that happen to you in life that makes all the difference. And the ability to keep your emotions in check so that you don't make a permanent decision to a short-term problem. That's what separates those that win the game of life and those that's just trying to survive it. So that's all that I have for this morning. If there's any major news, I should be back for late night crypto talk tonight. Everybody have a great day. Keep your head down. Stay moving forward. Keep talking. Keep sharing. Because here's what's going to happen for those of you that say, I'm talking, and nobody's listening. When the day does come, when things start popping, these people are going to remember Who was talking about this? Let me go contact them. They're an expert. They can help me. That's what you do. You're preparing for the future. You're watering your seeds right now. So with that, everybody have a great day. Bitcoin Brandon out. God bless. Bye-bye.